You're listening to Dad of All Trades with Jonathan Marco. Real talk, real projects, and figuring out how to build something online, one day at a time. Let's talk about it. What's up? This is Jonathan Marco, the DOAT, and this is Dad of All Trades, episode 2. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to need to take you back to a version of me about 10 years ago that looked like I had it all together on the outside, but I was falling apart on the inside. And I think there's a lot of parents, a lot of people who are in that same position right now and don't even know it. If that's you, stay with me, because this is probably one of the most important things I'm going to say on the mic. About 10 years ago, at a former job, I was working 60 plus hours a week. Whenever there was an on-call rotation that someone was trying to get rid of, or extra hours needing to be filled, I was the one who immediately took those hours. I was the one who immediately took over everyone's on-call shift. On top of that, I was also a volunteer on my local fire department as a firefighter and an EMT. And I wasn't just showing up when it was convenient. I was filling in whenever I could because I wanted to get the experience and the exposure. In both situations, I was filling in on holidays, on weekends, whenever someone needed time off, I was trying to fit myself in there. One, for, obviously experience, and then two, obviously for money. My family needed money. And when I was on call on both these jobs, my full-time job and this volunteer position, I could be gone in the middle of the night. I'd be gone weekends. I'd be gone holidays. Whenever there was an open shift, it was me that typically tried to fill it. And then, on top of that, I was also in a local leadership position with my church, where throughout the week I was holding meetings. Most Sundays were an 8-hour shift, meaning I'd go to my own church services. And then throughout the day, I would lead multiple meetings for different auxiliary groups I was in charge of for my area. And so on top of my full-time job, volunteering with the fire department, and then also volunteering with my church, I kept myself busy. My days were full. The weeks would go by because I was so busy. And from the outside, it looked like I was the guy who was just crushing it at everything. I was a hard worker, community volunteer, community servant, a church leader, and I was the guy who showed up. I was the guy you could count on. But here's what nobody saw. My family was not the priority. They weren't even close to being the priority. They were getting whatever was left over. And at the end of the day, after all those different things I did, there wasn't much left of me to give. I'd come home exhausted. I'd be there physically, but not there mentally. My kids were growing up. I was in the same house, but I really wasn't there. I was everywhere except where I mattered most. You can run like that for a while. Your body lets you. Your pride lets you. The pats on the back from the community lets you. People tell you you're doing great. You're making a difference. You're the guy. And that feeds something in you. It feeds a part of you that needs to feel valuable, that needs to feel like you matter. But eventually, your body and your mind start sending you invoices for all the rest that you skipped. And I couldn't keep up anymore. Physically, I was breaking down. Mentally, I was in a place I didn't even really recognize. I was losing my grip on the things that I'd been pouring myself into. I just wasn't able to keep up at work anymore. I wasn't able to keep up with the fire department. I was pulling back from church. And the thing that should have been the foundation, my family, was breaking. And that's when it hit me. I had been focusing on the wrong things the whole time. They weren't bad things. That's what makes it hard to see. Everything I was doing was good on paper. Overtime to provide for my family, firefighting to serve the community, church leadership to give back. None of it was wrong. But all of it together at the expense of my family and of my own health, that was wrong. I personally couldn't see it because everyone around me was telling me I was doing great and I was doing the right things. I was losing a battle to my mental health, and at the time, that wasn't even anything I really understood. I knew something was breaking, which was me. But I didn't know how to stop because I felt like if I was going to stop, stopping was failing. So around this time, something happened next that was so random. And it wasn't anything we had planned. It wasn't anything that we mapped out. It was just a random surprise trip to the Oregon coast. It was someplace I had never been. We had never been as a family. I had always wanted to visit there ever since I was a kid because I was a big fan of the Goonies. And I just remember always thinking it'd be cool to go to the Oregon coast. And so we decided to make a trip there. We didn't have any big itinerary. We had no plans. We were just like, let's go. Like, I was burning out from everything I was doing. And me and my wife just said, let's go. And we planned it one evening, got confirmation on an Airbnb. And the next morning we were packing, going to the store, buying everything, getting a rental car. And we left within 24 hours on a 15-hour road trip. I think there was a part of me that knew, even if I couldn't say it out loud, that I needed to be somewhere completely different, separated from the environment that I had put myself in. I needed to be in a place where I had put myself in a situation that so many people needed me, that I needed to be somewhere where nobody needed me. And I don't know how to explain what happened out there without sounding like it's a movie, but something broke open. It was in a good way. Being in a place where nobody knew me, nobody needed me to cover a shift, nobody needed me to lead a meeting, nobody was needing me to fix an electrical panel, nobody was counting on me for anything. I could finally hear my own head, and that's when I realized that what I was hearing wasn't good, but it was honest. I realized I had been running from myself by filling every minute with service, with work, with being needed, because if I was always busy, I never had to sit with the fact that the most important thing in my life, my family, was suffering because of it. Being busy was the excuse I didn't even know I was making. That trip didn't fix everything overnight. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I came home and everything was perfect, but it started something. It started with the process of me being honest with myself about who actually matters, and it started the slow, ugly, painful work of rebuilding the things I had been neglecting. The Oregon coast gave me something I didn't even know I was missing. It gave me silence. It gave me the silence to where I could finally hear that something was wrong. So why am I telling you this on a podcast about building a brand, building a social media platform, being a dad of all trades? Because it's the reason why I'm here. That experience 10 years ago taught me something I carry with me every single day. You can be doing all the right things and still be getting it wrong. If the people closest to you are getting the worst version of you, it doesn't matter how many shifts you're covering. It doesn't matter how many leadership roles you hold. You're missing the point. And now, 10 years later, I'm 42. My kids are fully grown. My youngest is about to graduate high school in a month, and I'm building something new. This podcast, my TikTok platform, the DOAT brand. But I'm building it different this time. I'm not filling every minute to avoid sitting with myself. I'm building something that actually aligns with who I am and what I care about. I'm not starting over. I'm starting it right. Everything I went through, the 60-hour work weeks, the fire department, the church leadership role, the burnout, the mental health battle, the Oregon coast, all of it led to here. None of it was wasted, but I almost had to lose what matters most to figure out what actually matters. Now here's the part I didn't expect to talk about, but I think it's the most important part of this whole episode. When I started building on TikTok, I went on a 100+ day grind going live. Every night, building the room, building the community, chasing the numbers. And I was locked in. I was showing up, I was growing, I was doing the work. And then one day I looked up and realized I had seen this before. The same patterns, the same habits, filling every hour, prioritizing the grind over everything else, telling myself it was for a good reason, telling myself the people around me understood. The same exact story I had told you about 10 years ago, just with a ring light instead of a fire truck. Social media was becoming the thing I was choosing over the people that mattered most. And the scary part is, it crept in the same way, slowly, disguised as ambition, disguised as I'm building something. And I almost didn't catch it. But I did catch it, because I'd been here before. And that's the whole point of going through something hard. Not so you never struggle again, but so you recognize the struggle faster the next time. After the 100+ day grind, I took a 3-week break from going live. And in that silence, just like the Oregon Coast 10 years ago, I could hear what was actually going on. I was doing it again, and I needed to stop, reset, and remember what mattered. The break changed everything, not because I quit, but because I came back different. I came back with boundaries. I came back with my priorities straight. The live schedule isn't my whole life anymore. It's a piece of it. And the people in my life are getting the best of me again, not the leftovers. If you're a parent right now and your schedule is so packed that you can't remember the last time you were fully present with your family, I'm not judging you. I was you twice. I get it. The world rewards you for being busy. People praise you for grinding. Nobody tells you to slow down until something breaks. I'm telling you now, before it breaks, look at your list. Look at everything you're giving your time to. And ask yourself, are the people who matter most getting the best of me, or what's left over? Because whatever's left over isn't enough. I learned that the hard way, and then I almost learned it again. I'm 42 years old. I've been a provider, a firefighter, an EMT, a church leader, an engineer, a live host who went 100 days straight, and a dad who almost missed the whole thing twice because I was too busy being everything to everyone else. And right now, I'm building something from scratch at an age when most people stop trying. And for the first time, I'm doing it with my eyes open. I know what matters. I know what I almost lost. And I know what it looks like when the pattern starts creeping back. That's not weakness. That's awareness. And awareness is what keeps you from making the same mistake 3 times. I'm Jonathan Marco. This is the Dad of All Trades. And if you needed to hear this today, I'm glad you pressed play. I'll see you in the next one.